Breaking news tonight, an Israeli military helicopter has been shot down over Gaza, sparking a wave of concern not just in Israel, but across the entire Middle East. What makes this moment even more explosive is the finger pointing that has already begun. Israel accuses Iran of providing advanced weapons to Palestinian fighters, while Tehran denies direct involvement but praises what it calls resistance against occupation. The world is now on edge, fearing that this could be the spark that ignites a broader war between Israel and Iran. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. The downing of the Israeli helicopter is more than a battlefield event. It is a symbol, a message, and perhaps the opening move of something much larger. Helicopters are critical assets in Israel's military arsenal. They provide close air support, rapid troop transport, and reconnaissance capabilities. For decades, they have flown over Gaza almost without fear. But now, one lies in pieces on the ground, destroyed by a weapon Palestinian fighters should never have had. The shock in Israel is profound. For years, the country has lived under the belief that its air superiority was absolute, that no force within Gaza could challenge its skies. Tonight, that illusion has been shattered. Families in Israel watch the news in disbelief, politicians scramble to reassure the public, and the military quietly admits that this is a humiliation unlike any other. And yet, as Israel grieves and fumes, Gaza celebrates. On the streets, fireworks erupt, chants echo into the night, and fighters pose with fragments of the wreckage. For them, this is proof that resistance works, that even a giant can bleed. But beneath the celebration lies fear. The people of Gaza know what usually follows such a blow against Israel: massive retaliation. Bombs raining down, entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. The joy of victory is already mixed with the dread of what tomorrow may bring. Internationally, the downing of the helicopter has ignited a firestorm. In Washington, U.S. officials are urgently consulting with Israel, fearing that a harsh response could trigger an uncontrollable spiral. In Moscow and Beijing, governments call for restraint but quietly observe how the balance of power in the Middle East is shifting. And in Tehran, Iranian leaders walk a careful line. They deny direct involvement but cannot hide their satisfaction. After all, weakening Israel strengthens their influence in the region. The big question now is, how did Gaza fighters obtain the ability to bring down a helicopter? Reports suggest they may have used a surfaced-ware missile, possibly of Iranian origin, smuggled into Gaza through complex networks involving regional allies. If true, this is a game changer. For years, Gaza has relied on homemade rockets and small arms, weapons that caused damage but rarely shifted the balance. A missile capable of downing helicopters or even jets is another matter entirely. Israeli intelligence is already investigating, but one thing is certain: if Iran is involved, even indirectly, Israel may retaliate not just against Gaza, but against Iran itself. This is where the danger lies. For years, Israel and Iran have waged a shadow war: cyber attacks, assassinations, proxy battles in Syria and Lebanon. But a direct confrontation that would be catastrophic for the region and potentially for the world. Inside Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu, who faces mounting pressure, the people demand answers. How did this happen? How could one of the most powerful militaries in the world allow its skies to be pierced? Netanyahu's opponents call this a failure of leadership, while his supporters demand vengeance. For him, the stakes could not be higher. Act too softly and he appears weak. Act too harshly and he risks igniting a war that could engulf the region. For Iran, the incident is a propaganda victory. State media hails the event as proof that Israel can be challenged, that resistance movements are gaining strength. Iranian generals speak of a new era in the struggle against Zionism, while diplomats insist they had no role. Yet few believe that advanced weaponry could reach Gaza without Iranian support. The downing of the helicopter has become a symbol of Iran's growing influence, and that alone may provoke Israel into striking back. Meanwhile, in Lebanon, Hezbollah watches closely. This powerful militia, backed by Iran, has long been preparing for confrontation with Israel. If Gaza can shoot down a helicopter, what might Hezbollah do with its far larger arsenal of rockets, drones, and missiles? The thought chills Israeli military planners who know that a Front War Gaza in the south, Hezbollah in the north would stretch their forces to the breaking point. On the ground in Gaza, families huddle in fear. Parents tell their children to stay indoors, stockpiling what little food and water they can. Hospitals brace for casualties, knowing that they are already under-equipped and underfunded. Aid groups warn that another Israeli bombing campaign could cause a humanitarian disaster, with thousands displaced in a matter of days. The helicopter strike may be seen as a victory by some, but for the ordinary people of Gaza, it may unleash a nightmare. As dawn approaches, Israel's military begins mobilizing. Tanks roll toward the Gaza border. Jets prepare for airstrikes. The rhetoric grows hotter with every passing hour. Netanyahu vows that Israel will not tolerate such aggression. Defense officials speak of teaching Gaza a lesson they will never forget. In Tehran, leaders warn that any strike on Iran will be met with fire and fury. The region teeters on the edge of escalation, every moment bringing the possibility of a wider war. The United Nations calls for calm, but its voice is drowned out by the roar of anger and fear. European leaders urge restraint, but they know their influence is limited. Arab nations, divided among themselves, offer cautious statements. Some quietly celebrate Israel's setback, while others fear the chaos that wider conflict could bring. The world watches, powerless, as events spiral toward the unknown. Experts warn that this moment is more dangerous than it appears. A single helicopter may not decide a war, but the symbolism is immense. Israel's aura of invincibility has been pierced. Iran's role, whether direct or indirect, has been spotlighted, and in conflicts fueled by pride, honor, and ideology, symbols matter as much as weapons. For ordinary Israelis, the loss is devastating. Families of the crew weep as their loved ones are buried. Soldiers speak of the fear that their skies are no longer safe. For ordinary Palestinians, the emotions are mixed: joy at striking a blow against their occupier, fear of the inevitable retribution. For the world, the downing of the helicopter is a reminder that peace in the Middle East remains elusive, fragile, and perhaps further away than ever. What happens next will depend on choices made in the coming hours and days. Will Israel retaliate against Gaza alone, or will it strike at Iran directly? Will Iran double down on its support for resistance groups, or will it seek to avoid a direct clash? Will the international community find a way to calm the situation, or will it watch helplessly as another war unfolds before its eyes? The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The helicopter that fell over Gaza has shaken the Middle East to its core. It has reignited fears of war, redrawn the lines of conflict, and reminded the world of how fragile peace truly is. The world now waits, watching nervously, as Israel and Iran edge closer to confrontation. Stay tuned as this story develops. We will continue to bring you the latest updates, analysis, and insights into a conflict that threatens to reshape the Middle East and perhaps the world.